No, I'm not your coworker anymore. Bit of a short one, but happened to me a while back. I used to work at a local fast food place before quitting a few months back. At the time, I also worked another job at an all-you-can-eat restaurant a few streets away. Right after I quit my job at the fast food place, my other job moved locations, and now I work in the same street as my old job. This happened about 2 months after quitting said job. I was leaving with a coworker around 12 p.m. 2 hours later, then I usually get off work at my old job. I was also carrying a backpack, which I never did at my old job, unless I knew I was done early on a Monday or Wednesday. This was on a Saturday. Suddenly, I hear someone calling out for me, one of my old coworkers. I expected him to just want to say hi, but instead he started asking me about the cleaning duties that had to be done that night at my old job, expecting me to know what happened. Obviously, I had no idea who cleaned the place, and I had to tell him I hadn't worked there for at least 2 months. He seemed genuinely surprised. Not as big of a story as some others, but old coworkers not even knowing you quit even though you haven't seen or spoken to them in 2 months is just baffling to me. I don't know, I could definitely see why. I mean, at fast food places, you don't really realize who works there and who quits half the time because you're so overstaffed that you really only get to see employees like once a week, if that. Heck, I probably quit over a month ago, and I'm willing to bet the majority of people at my old job probably still think I work there. I don't work for you full-time anymore, so you need to pay me a freelance rate to fix your problem. I had been working as a consultant on a major project for a tech firm. I was the subject matter expert on number system and adequate database program that was basically obsolete, and which this company kept around mostly for convenience. I'd been with the company for about a year and only ended up with an SME on that system because the other SMEs had quit. Why, you ask? Well, the project manager over the product using that system, Jim, was a nightmare. Lack of communication, flexible due dates that spanned weeks, and threw curveballs at the last minute. Demands of time tracking in multiple systems, none of which were actually utilized until they were trying to prove someone was doing something wrong. It was a mess. I found another job and put in my notice. A full 3 weeks notice just to make sure they could find someone. They never scheduled me to train anybody, so I assumed they found someone who had experience in number system. I turned in my keys and computer and then left. About a week later, I got a call from Jim. "We need you to come in and fix an issue we're having." "I'm sorry, I don't work there anymore," I said, thinking that maybe manager had forgotten. "I know, but we don't have anyone here who can fix number system, so we need you." He explained the issue. It was a few hours work fix. "All right, if you would like me to work on number system, then I'm willing to help. But I'll have to charge you by the hour at a contract rate. And it will have to be after hours because I have a new full-time job." The manager balked. "No, you will come in and work at my original hourly rate." "No," I explained as carefully as I could. "First, since I'm not your full-time employee anymore, I have none of your full-time benefits. Second, this will be after hours and, from my perspective, overtime work. So again, I'm happy to help you, but it will be at new rate per hour." "That's stupid. You know how to fix this. This should be easy for you. I'm not paying you, new rate, for something you already did at old rate." At this point, I lost my patience. "I'm not bartering with you. Take my rate or don't. Next time you call, it will go up. Now listen here, you I hung up on him. He called back immediately. I picked up the call. "I need you to fix this now," he seethed into the phone. "I can do that," I said politely. "My new rate is new rate plus $50 per hour." "You can't do that," Jim shouted. "I'm not paying you extra to..." "New rate plus $75 per hour." "No, you effing..." "New rate plus $100 per hour." "Keep going, Jim. I have all day." There was a really long pause. "New rate. I will do that, but nothing more." I'll be honest with you guys. I really considered doubling down for the elevated rate. But at the same time, I know a win when I see it, so I took the job. I assume he did find a new expert because I never did another job for them again. That's crazy. You're telling me people don't want to drop everything they're doing and use their own personal free time to go work at a job they already quit for the exact same pay they were getting before they quit? Madness. Stephanie wants me fired from my job. I worked in retail before and found myself dealing with more rude people named Stephanie than Karen. So I'm going to call this woman Stephanie instead. This incident occurred at my local bargain grocery store a few hours ago, where I was buying all kinds of junk food when I saw an elderly lady who was clearly very lost. She was wandering up and down the dairy section for a good few minutes. I went up and down the whole aisle and she was still there. So I just asked her if there was anything I could help her find. Unfortunately, I asked this in the earshot of Stephanie. Problem 1. This store doesn't have a very distinct color scheme for its dress code, and I was wearing rather plain clothes, like I normally do. If you are paying close attention, you might notice that, hey, my shirt doesn't have the name of the store on it, and all the employee shirts do. But I doubt Stephanie was taking notes. Problem 2. I'd set down my handbasket on a shelf so I could help this elderly woman. So maybe the fact that I didn't have any groceries on me in a grocery store indicated that I was a worker instead of a customer. Whatever it was, when I finished helping the elderly woman, Stephanie immediately started to ask me a question. I wasn't paying attention because she didn't tap my shoulder, called out to me specifically, or do the ahem thing. So I didn't realize she was talking to me until she shouted, "Hey!" at me. I turned around and looked at a very short, very unpleasant lady. Now that she had my undivided attention, she said, "Took you long enough. I asked you a damn question. I expect an answer." Ever the non-confrontational dude, I apologized and said, "Sorry, what was the question?" "Can you scan the price on this for me?" She shoved a package of cake mix into my hands. I chuckled a bit and just said, "No, sorry, I can't. Because I don't have a scanner on me. I don't actually work here, but I can get a hold of someone who does for you." Stephanie scoffed at me. "No, you do work here. You were helping someone else out a moment ago. Now help me." "Oh, I was just helping her out because she seemed lost, and I like helping people out." "Then why don't you help me out?" "Because I literally, physically cannot help you out with this." "You're just lazy. Get someone who will actually be helpful." Now, I wasn't too fond of pushing this lady's rude attitude on some poor minimum wage worker, but I also wanted to spend as little time within the vicinity of this woman as possible. In my quest to find an employee, I had a mini "I don't work here lady" moment myself, but I eventually found a worker and brought him to aid Stephanie. Rather than interact with her one more time, I just pointed him in her general direction and let him take care of the formalities. Curiosity got the best of me. I decided to pretend to look at various pastas that I certainly wasn't going to buy, while keeping an eye on the conversation that unfolded. Stephanie: "Finally, someone competent, I hope." Worker: "A genuinely nice guy, I think." "I hope so as well. How can I help you?" "Scan this." Worker scans this. "Thank you." She rose her voice so that I could hear it. I guess my cover was blown. "That wasn't so hard, was it?" Worker: "I guess not." "Your coworker there refused to help me. You should get him fired." She points to me. Worker: I haven't seen him around, so I don't think he's my coworker. Plus, he isn't wearing our outfit. I guess they do have one. Still don't know what it is, though." "No, believe me, he works there. Tell your manager to have him fired." Worker: Okay. Is there anything else you needed?" God bless his soul. "No, that's all." The worker then left, presumably to tell his manager, who never showed up. At this point, I was genuinely impressed by this woman's ability to confidently and assertively state things that she had no real knowledge about, Despite my newfound admiration for Stephanie, I decided to head in the opposite direction of her so as to avoid any further interaction. It almost worked. I didn't see her until I got in line and heard a familiar voice telling the cashier to get some guy fired. I had a feeling I knew who that guy was, so I avoided eye contact because I heard that dogs are less likely to bark at you if you don't look at them in the eyes. And while I'm not sure how true that is, it certainly worked here. Steph got her stuff and got the hell out. I stepped up to the cashier, a woman in her mid-40s, I think, who very clearly hated her job. "Give it to me straight, boss," I said. "Am I fired?" "I guess so," she grumbled, not smiling at all. Well, I thought it was clever at least. I already feel the seething hatred in the comment section. "You didn't say Stephanie's name every time." Yes, I'm well aware. I specifically did that because the voices were distinct enough that I didn't need to say her name without you realizing who it was. The worker's voice was very similar, so I decided to just say his name instead. So for all you out there who are planning on raging at me in the comment section, at least you got a reason now. Alright guys, that's gonna wrap it up for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, consider subscribing. Also, real quick, the new gaming channel is up and running and the first video is out, so if you're interested in that, I'll be putting a link down in the description and down in the comments below. Also, the name, if you just want to type it in, is Fubeer Gaming, so go check it out, it's pretty cool. Anyways, if you really liked it, consider giving it a like, and with that, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.